Richard, I've finally pinned you down for a Heber update, which I hope will be a regular thing because it's been just coming up on 3 months now since you updated us on the release of the Multisystem2. And you've hit a real milestone with what's in this red case here.
Yep.
So where do we start with the update for everyone that wants to know about Multisystem2? And then we're going to go beyond that with lots of other Heber news, aren't we?
Yeah, sure. So first thing to say is we are on track. We still plan to start shipping early August. No problems there.
Fantastic.
I'll go through a few of the things that we had building up to that production. But basically, when we launched this product, we had a goal set. And we said that we were going to switch on more pre-orders and more manufacturing runs as we got close to each one of those goals. The first goal we had set blew past in just a few days with patron support and
response.
the initial launch, which was brilliant. So we went on to add 2 more batches of the same size throughout the next month or so. And we're still getting orders coming in. So that's really good. Thank you for your support. Thank you for supporting us and this product. It's really, really important. And yeah, it enabled us to get to where we are now, which is the only reason why it's in a red case is because it's so subtly different to the others. We wanted to make sure.
Oh, okay. And what is it?
So this is the production version of Multisystem2.
The final board ready to go to
These are the first ones off of the production line. So we are starting to get them through now. And we're working on all the test fixture and everything else. So yeah, this is it. There's very, very little changes from this to the one we actually showed in the video.
So this is the evolution of the design. And
yeah.
You started off with a really strong footing, didn't you?
We did.
One.
This was a really rock solid issue 1. So we were really pleased with this. We have one little bodge wire on here and we have 2 resistors on the back. And that was it. You know, it actually worked and did everything we needed to do. There was a couple of little tweaks we made as we went along. The main thing was this USB 3 SNAC port that we had on the front. And a few of you pointed this out and asked a few questions about this. Where did it go? You know, what's happened to it? The one good thing is we've listened to you for the feedback and we're adding this back on a cartridge. So I'll explain a little bit more later. But the main reason why we took it off and the problems we had on the Multisystem1 were people were plugging in things that they shouldn't be into it. So it's a USB 3 connector, but it's not really USB 3. So if you plug in certain devices, you can damage the board and you can do certain things. And you also get lots of technical support from people. And we knew that this board was going out to the next level of customer as well. So not just the enthusiasts, but people who wanted to use this as a console. And that's why we developed it. That's why we wanted it. We wanted to make it more accessible for people. So adding that USB 3 port on the front, we thought was just too risky because we've got a nice SNAC cartridge adapter. We've got cartridges that plug in and they're a bit more foolproof. You know, they've got all the level shifters on. They've got everything you need. You don't need to mess around with extra boards and stacks of chains of boards and adapters and cables and things like that. But we have had a reasonable number of people say, I've got a lot of SNAC adapters I want to use on the Multisystem2. Can you please do something about that? So we've developed and made a little add-on card which will have all of the level shifting on, have lots of little switches on so you can set it in all sorts of modes, legacy multisystem mode, the MiSTer mode, SNAC port and user port, so you can plug in pretty much anything that's out there. So we will have that cartridge available, so you'll be able to do that. So that's one of the main things from that very first prototype to the next one that you saw, and that was this. So this was our one we sent out to the testers. So thank you again so much, testers. It was amazing to get your feedback on this board. We had a lot of work to do with all the cores and testing and everything, and that really refined this to the final one. So there was just a couple of little capacitors on here, and actually everything else that we made for the production change was all slight tweaks and changes to values. And a lot of that was just down to the fact we were working with the existing project and the existing framework, which is an interesting sort of dilemma, because one of the things we found when we were looking through getting this EMC approved and being able to meet all of the standards that you have to for a consumer product was that the default drives on the FPGA are defaulted to 16 milliamps on all of the I/O pins, which sounds fine. It's a decent level of drive output, but it is the highest level. By default in the software, it just defaults to that. And I think everyone just left that when they created the framework, created all the cores. So every single core, everything has got this default to this high drive current.
What does that mean in the real world?
In the real world, yeah, that means that you're driving all of the pins quite hard. So if you've got an overdriven pin and you've got a track that isn't quite perfect, you can have sort of bouncing signals, you can have various problems, and a lot of it boils down to EMC, so the emissions you're getting from the board that you have to then keep under control with either filtering or all sorts of other components to actually sort of suppress some of those problems that you have. So some of the issues we had with component was just trying to manage that high level drive. In the software, you can convert it to a 4 milliamp, 8 milliamp, you can do lots of things to do that, but that means recompiling the FPGAs. And because we're trying to live with the existing framework and be able to take the card straight out of any other MiSTer, pop it in and run, we had to deal with the fact that everything's set at 16 milliamp drive. So it's those little tiny things that you learn along the way, and you learn how to deal with them. But we got through it. We got through all of those issues, and everything's nice and stable now. And it is because of those testers that we sent the boards out to that tested every single core. And there's so many. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cores.
All right, it's me, Bizzy the Egg, from your favourite game, Bizzy the Egg. If you want a cracking good time, head to PCBWay.com, where you can shell out for their PCB production, sheet metal fabrication, and 3D printing services. These guys are not joking around. When you buy something in, they scramble to execute and expedite your order for express delivery that will leave you shell-shocked. So crack on with your next project, put all your eggs in one basket at PCBWay.com. Eggs.
And they all have slightly different idiosyncrasies of the way the frequency they're running, the memory bandwidths, all that sort of stuff. So everyone needed to have a little bit of thrashing in high temperatures, low temperatures, stability, all that sort of thing, and variations of boards. We had quite a lot of boards, but it was really nice to get all that feedback, and it's resulted in a really solid, stable design we're really happy with.
And you mentioned EMC testing, so this has now been for testing. Have you got any footage or photos of that?
Yeah, we've got some. It's really interesting that all the EMC systems that we've done over the years, and they use a great big chamber with lots of aerials, and some really interesting pictures that we can put up for you to show you how that goes through. So yeah.
And in our last video, we went down to stores and we saw that you had plenty of components for what you expected the demand to be, but obviously that was quite a lot greater than you predicted.
Yeah.
Have you managed to keep up with the component supply and everything you need to meet demand?
Yeah, we have. We had to obviously place more orders for components. We took a bit of a gamble to start with. We didn't know how popular this was going to be, so we had to get some orders in place. We had those orders coming in, and some were on great long lead times, so we had to place those orders quite early on. We did have a few interesting things happen. So the one thing we always sort of pride ourselves on is we buy every single component, from every resistor all the way through to the connectors, and we bring everything back here, inspect everything. We have a critical procedure that we go through to check everything stacks up, that it's genuine as well. You've got to be careful, even with some of the really big suppliers. Things can sneak through that are counterfeit, so you've got to check everything that you're getting. It's too late once you've got it on the board, so we kit these up and we then go through the whole assembly and flow solder and process of manufacturing these. If there was a component that had a fault or a wrong component, you would have a real problem. And that's probably the bit where I always cringe whenever I see someone who's done a project and is waiting for their shipment from China or from wherever else, because they are waiting for the finished board to come in, a massive shipment, and when they get them, if there's a problem, that's it. You've got to solve that problem, and it could be something quite serious. And we did have one instance where the FE 2.1 USB hub, which is a standard part that's quite worldwide used in all sorts of things, from little hubs you buy on Amazon all the way through, and it's been used on the MiSTer project from the very start. It's a great 7-port hub. It's USB 2, it's really stable, works really well, not very expensive, quite easy to get hold of from a lot of different suppliers. So we had a few thousand in stock, we ordered more, and we had them come in just as we were sort of preparing for this first batch. Unfortunately, what we got shipped was FE 1.1 hubs. They're exactly the same. They've got the same number of pins. They look the same, but written on them is FE 1.1.
It's not USB 1, is it?
No, it's not USB 1. It's a 4-port hub.
Oh, wow.
So this would have been a bit of a disaster if we'd have put these down. And that's just the one little thing that you just have to check. You never know. And this was a genuine mistake from our supplier, who put their hands up straight away, solved the problem, got more out to us within days. But it's those sort of things you've got to be really careful about, because if you put that on that board, removing hundreds, thousands of those, is not a nice thing to have to do.
I'm sure there's
Yeah.
plenty of places in the process where you're the one signing it off, and
Yep.
then that's it. There's
That's
no
it,
going
yeah,
back.
Yeah. And as I say, we are a small team, so supporting us here, we've always worked in this way, buying all the components, doing all the testing, doing all the manufacturing, everything's done in the UK, so we at least have control over that. But things happen. Luckily enough, we didn't have too many other issues. We haven't had any other components that are on exceptionally long lead times. Some are on 12 weeks, that is quite a long time, but in the past we've had components on 50, 80 weeks, and that's obviously a long, long time.
So obviously you've talked about external testers, people testing this out and playing games and looking for faults, but what about internal testing? Because I'm seeing some strange bits of kit here that I've not seen before. What's this all about?
Yeah, so we've got the functional testing, which the prototypes go through, the field trials, all that sort of thing. Any product we make, we go through that process. But you also have to think about the design for production. So the final tweaks we made on the panelization and the way that these flow through the production line are also quite critical when you come to doing the actual testing. So we get this board in and it's completely dead. It hasn't got any sign of life on it. You have to program up the oscillators. There's a few things you have to do to turn this into a multi-system, or turn this into a MiSTer based system. And then you have to check everything. Now that's actually quite a big job, because you have to check every connector, you have to check every functionality, you have to check all the LEDs come on, all of the buttons work, everything else from a functional point of view. And every board needs that level of checks, and then the serial number to say, it's been tested and checked. So we often create ourselves little boards, and this is, we're calling this the sidecar. So this is our sidecar expansion. So one of the sidecar expansions we've done just for testing is actually to pop on a board onto here that enables us to do all of the I/O checks on the board. We can light up LEDs, we can double check everything, we can feedback. We've got shift registers on here to allow us to do more cool things in the future. So this is also a good development board that we're using to do some interesting, we can talk about that in a minute. But this is part of our test rig, and then this one also plugs in here, and it's a sort of an all-purpose SNAC adapter that gives us full I/O. So we've got all the I/O on there, and Nick couldn't help. He's got a little Knight Rider backwards and forwards with the LEDs. So he's got a little test pattern that shows what's going on there, and it gives us the outputs we can check with the VGA and all that sort of thing. So these are part of a bigger test rig, and we work in HP 3070s, which is a big floor standing test fixture with jets, and you pull the lids down and everything. Some of our products get done that way. With these types of products, we tend to create more standalone test fixtures. So we can show you an example of that, and this one is being created right now with these boards and cables and everything, adapters. But yeah, we will have a lot of boards to come through. When they come through, we have to test every single one, make sure they all work, because the last thing we want is to send out something that has a faulty USB port or something else. So that's quite an important part of the whole process, really. And it's, again, a thing sometimes people forget when they get very excited, create a product, and they get lots of orders. You have to actually test it, you have to make sure it's okay, the quality is working, and you get it out to people. So that's a real critical part of this whole process. So that's something we've been doing in the last few months, making all of that happen. The other thing we've been doing is gearing up for lots of production of plastics, because we are 3D printing a lot of parts. It's a huge effort downstairs to actually get all of the parts printed and geared up. And there's quite a bit we can do in preparation. And I just wanted to sort of give you an idea of the sort of things we're running through right now. So we've got our production parts that come off the printer, and they literally come off the printer. We don't do anything with them. We don't sit and sand them or take any edges. They are designed to come off the printer and be used. And we have little things, even like these little card guides that I've designed to pop in the side. And actually what they do is make the NFC cards feel nice. So again, it's little parts like that, but they just make it feel nice when you push it in. There's little logos. This was a Dan special because he wanted to put a nice logo on the top, but we didn't want a rough surface for the sticker to go into. And we also wanted it recessed. So this is an extra sticker instead of decal. We also wanted to be able to have a little recess, and Dan came up with a great idea of being able to view this and push it in.
So you get that really
we get
nice,
a little recess in there, and that creates, but that is a two-piece part, so you have to snap that together. So that's another part.
It was quite nice when he did that, when you were developing it.
Yeah.
He did this thing, and we all said, that looks brilliant, and you said, does, but that's going to be impossible to print. And then
Yeah.
you went away and you
Yeah.
figured out a way to do it.
Yeah, so that's one of the challenges of all doing this, is like designing for 3D printing, getting those little parts, being able to snap fit everything together, making sure that everything fits and is toleranced well. We've got little flaps that go in, so this all has to be assembled, put together. We've got a little flap adapter on here, and eventually you end up with a lid that's got everything screwed in with all the parts, all the working parts here, and the sticker on, and then that's an assembly just for the lid. So we've got hundreds of these sat downstairs and building up and up and up. At the more, every day we're producing more and more of these, and then we have the bases with the rubber feet on and everything ready. So the idea with all that is that we can be very efficient when we've got the boards in. We can test them, we can get them ready, put the back plate on, snap them together, do one final check, get them out the door. So we are trying to make sure we are being efficient with our preparations for the manufacturing run. Doesn't mean that we're going to ship every single order on day one. That's not possible.
No.
It is really important to stress that. We've said right from the start we will ship in priority order number. So we were doing pre-orders number by number, and we will ship as many as we can, as fast as we can, and we'll be doing all of this every day, trying to get all of these out there. So it's an exciting thing to look forward to, but we have had to enhance our 3D print farm. We did buy 8 new 3D printers, which doesn't sound a lot, but they're faster, they can produce more, and we can get a lot more printed out. So we've been doing a lot of the high quality top cases on those new printers. The old printers are great for sort of small little parts that we've been printing. We've got a lot of those to print, and all in all we've been managing to get a lot more through production. So we're well ahead on the 3D printing side, and actually we have to be, because it's not just Multisystem2 we're printing.
No, you're doing so much more.
Yeah, we're doing a lot more.
Yeah.
We're doing other products, people are still ordering other parts that we need to do. Multisystem1 still selling well, and all the other cartridge apps and other projects. We have other projects on the go as well. So we use 3D printers for a lot of things. But all in all, it's been an incredible few months.
It's been amazing to watch, and I'm sure there's lots of people who are really anticipating the delivery of their multi-system. We even had someone say, "I'm coming to the cave this weekend. Can I pick mine up?"
Yeah.
Not just yet. And you've got to wait your turn
That's it.
in the order that you ordered. But also, don't let that put you off ordering now, because it's still for sale, isn't it? It's not like it's
still for
a
sale.
pre-order that's closed or anything.
Yeah, we really wanted to not have a closed pre-order, because companies do get criticised for having a certain batch run. They make X number and then they put it up there. They only have a small amount of window to get those orders in. And if we'd have done that with the first batch, we would have shut that order down within 2 days. It would have just gone. So it's a shame if you then close that order down and go, well, we can't do that. So we've taken a bit of a gamble, and we've said we'll keep that open order, and every time we get to that next threshold point, we'll just put the next level of batch manufacturing in. Does mean there's going to be a couple of weeks delay between some of those start of the first batch and the shipping of the second batch, but actually it'll all balance out in the end, because there is a fundamental amount you can test in a day, assemble in a day, pack in a day, and ship in a day. So we are a small company, and whenever I say on social media or any of the Discord or any personal comments I send to you, thank you for supporting us, I don't just mean this product. I mean supporting us, this entire collective, all of our team. We're a small team, and it does need everyone on board to get this sort of thing designed, tested, approved, test fixtures, everything. It's not just a case of a couple of people doing this.
It is Richard at the keyboard saying, "Thank you for supporting us."
It really is.
There's no marketing team department down there writing that.
No, we have a wonderful production team. Like I say, we're only 15 people, so we're a small company. We act like a big company because we've got very good processes in place. We're ISO 9001 company, so we have all of these structures in place to go for design checks, reviews, everything. We've got all the paperwork and all the control that we need to design and manufacture electronics for companies all around the world. But we are a small team, we are a small company, so we still have those hands-on, we are really making your boards. We're making your boards, we're making your units. Every single one,
down there putting things in boxes.
That's it. Every single one has been taken off of those printers, checked and checked for quality, and then assembled all by hand here in the UK. So please bear with us. But it's very exciting, and like I say, nothing has gone dramatically wrong. We had a couple of little close calls with the components and things, but they're all things we deal with on a daily basis, so we know how to do these.
And there's been more feedback when people have been ordering those from people who also wanted to order the LCD screen,
Yes.
which was a surprise hit, I'd say. You did that as kind of a fun thing because you wanted it,
Yep.
but a lot of people wanted it as well.
Yeah.
But then some people ran into some problems having ordered that, trying to order the exact LCD screen, didn't they?
Yeah, that's it. So from day one, when we first did the video, I was trying to be as careful as possible not to point to a listing on Amazon or anywhere to say, go and buy this here, because as soon as you do that, it's on-demand pricing. They go out of stock, price shoots up. But of course, there was a few people that said, I've placed the order for the Multisystem 2 now, I want to get the screen on order, can you help me? So I've given a few people links to the systems, the LCDs that we used. And we did buy these in December last year, so December 2024, for £46, UK pounds, this screen. It was still available in January, and we bought quite a few more because we use them for test fixtures and all sorts of things as well. But we noticed that as soon as more people were placing orders, the in-demand pricing went up and up and up, 69, 99, 119, I think it's currently 159, but every now and again it drops straight back down to £69 again. So you've got to be a bit careful with these things. It's also why we didn't promise to sell this as a system with a screen, because we know unless it's got a long life, long-term supply, we don't buy components that are spot pricing or just happen to be repurposed, because a lot of these screens come from tablets or iPads that have been repurposed and things. That's fine if you're an individual buyer and you can afford to shop around and get the one you want. But if you're a company trying to have a production run, we knew from day one we wouldn't be able to buy enough of these screens, keep it in stock. As soon as we placed the order for the first batch, if we'd have bought a few hundred of these, we'd have got a reasonably good price. The second batch, no, we wouldn't have got a good price on them.
And you're letting people down.
You're letting people down, and it was going to be a problem. So we sort of threw the dice and said, well, we'll show it on the video, we'll tell people what we've used. I just want to say thank you to What's Ken Making, who actually took one of these screens and all of the 3D printed files I sent over to him, and he adapted it for a slightly different screen. And I think he's going to publish those files as well. And that gave us the idea to do various inserts that we can use for screens that are slightly smaller or slightly bigger. So you can put a 7-inch screen, an 8-inch screen, an 8.9, a 9 and a 9.2, all within that same enclosure. Because of Ken and a few other people that are quite happy to rejig those files, we can find ways to adapt that and fit it.
So the design files for these will be available, as well as the case and everything else?
Everything, yeah. That's the one bit I'm a little bit behind on, so I do have to apologise. A few people have been asking, and I did promise I'd get them all up on printables. I will do that, and they will all be up there, so everything will be available. We're not holding anything back. All of the SNAC cartridges, all of the Multisystem2 enclosures. I've actually done some fun ones that are slightly different. There's a blank case if you don't like the aesthetics that we've chosen, so you can print your own. And also we had some people ask about different colours. So you can see a red one here, and I think the best piece of advice you gave me before we launched was stick to black, Richard. Don't try to do too many colours, because I really wanted to do the midnight blue.
Midnight blue. You wanted to do combinations, all sorts.
And I'm so glad you persuaded me not to do that, because
not because they didn't look great, they really did. But it would have been a distribution nightmare to have arranged all that with the demand that you've had. But now there are alternatives, such as downloading the files yourself when you put them up there, so you can print them yourself, or Dan came to the rescue and said, I'd really like to print some of these. I had some people asking for different colours, and I want to play around with the files. So Dan's been testing my files and feeding back a few little tweaks and things to get the print farm running absolutely perfectly. And I've been doing the same thing over the last few months. And Dan's actually really gone ahead and produced some really interesting, unique enclosures. So there will be a series of enclosures available from Dan at retrofied.uk. So Dan is very much part of the collective, and he's got his own little retro shop where you can get things like the vinyl wraps that we've used to refurbish things like the Amiga 4000, and he's also doing multi-system things, ranging from whole cases to, I think this is my favourite thing I've seen him do so far, which is just the flaps, the wood grain flaps, which you can drop into your black case, and it just gives it that kind of Atari 2600
It's
look.
fantastic.
It's
I thought it was photoshopped, but actually no. Dan went ahead and produced some Atari wood grain flaps, which is fantastic. So yeah, I'm really excited about that.
I mean, Dan's close to us, but it is part of a community that is formed around the Multisystem one and the Multisystem2, and there's some really wonderful things coming forward. For example, Rob Smith's been in touch with you, hasn't he?
That's right, So we mentioned the sidecar, and the reason why we gave it this name is because of Rob, actually, because he got in touch with us and said, I've been working on the Amiga floppy disk adapter, which is a slight core change in MiSTer, so he has had to make some changes to the core, but it's to support a real floppy disk interface, which is great. And he wanted to go through the SNAC port or the cartridge port. And at the moment, we're looking at that design because he's been very kind and sent us it, and he's open sourced that design. And we're looking at making a little sidecar, a bit like the Amiga 500, where you had the sidecar on the side with a set of components that will allow disk drive access. And it's something that we sort of wanted to throw out there. What else should we put on there? Because we've got more pins on here than we need.
You dropped some hints in the first video, didn't you?
Yeah, we've got some really exciting things coming for adapters and expansions, and something like this where the core is already a fork of a main Amiga core. So, it may get pulled into the master set, and it might just be the standard. But while it's not, you can certainly use this floppy disk adapter and do real disk archiving and reading and that sort of thing. But maybe you want some joystick ports, maybe you want some MIDI ports that the Amiga never had.
The CD-TV did.
The CD-TV did, yeah. So there could be some other things. So we're sort of open to ideas on that because it's a new design that we're looking at doing. It won't be available right yet, but it's something we want to try and do more on the sidecar and more cartridge adapters. But it was lovely that Rob reached out to us and said, "I've got this design. I would love to see it on there. Can you have a look at it?" So we're looking at that, and we encourage that more. And same with the printed cases. If you want to set up a small business printing cases and doing adaptions and things, you're perfectly allowed to do that. We have an open license that's commercial license, so you're allowed to do that. You don't need to tell us. It's an attribution license, so it's nice if you mention that it's a HEBA multi-system or the Retro Collective. But other than that, you're welcome to make additions, make cartridges. We've got an outline cartridge PCB on our GitHub that you can create your own cartridges. So if you want to create a specific type of cartridge, you can do that and you can sell it. That's no problem at all.
We will shout about it.
Yeah, we will. We will want to support it. And if you want to design something and then send it to us because you don't want to manufacture it, we can do that as well, which is sort of the way Rob approached us. Was he's done the design, he's really happy, it works as a prototype, but actually he'd quite like to see it as a nice surface mount board that works really well. So that's sort of what I'd like to see in the future.
And I can't believe you haven't mentioned this yet, Richard, but Nick's been tinkering with the sidecar as well.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Nick
keeping
has,
you in suspense. Come on. What have they done? What have they done? Because you teased us in video one about, you said, potentially you might be able to use real cartridges for systems.
So again, like I say, this whole project is a big team effort. So Nick, who's been doing all of the design work on the layout and schematics and everything, choosing components and optimizing everything and really turning this into a really well-refined product. Always had a little thought in the back of his mind that we could use the sidecar adapter, the I/O expansion, so we brought every pin we could off of that FPGA for doing things like cartridge reading. And one weekend he just knocked it up and produced a cartridge board. So we got a couple of the Game Boy Advance connectors and knocked it in there, and Nick tweaked the core to get it to run, and it just ran. So and since then he's been tweaking the design a little bit because it is a prototype, so it's a proof of concept. We want to make that very clear. So some of the wires are a little bit long, and we're struggling with sort of quality of interference and things on some of those ones, but that's just because it's a prototype that's been knocked up with wire. So we couldn't quite get the Game Boy camera working to start with, but now we've got it working, which is really nice. So you can see real time Game Boy cameras. It's not just dumping the ROM or anything like that. It's running in real time. Or you can put cartridges in from the Game Boy. And this is also why we added this connector on here to put the level shifters on, so we can do things like Game Boy Advance, which runs on 3.3 volts, and a few other cartridges that we might need to be able to shift from the 5 volt signals or the 3.3 volts, same as you do on the SNAC, but with other types of interfaces.
I think he even said it supports things like loading of saved games from the battery backed up saved games on the cartridges, cartridges with custom chips and things like that. So, it's incredible from two perspectives for me. One, playing the games, but two, it's sort of starting to become this archival machine with the addition of, say, the disk drive and the cartridge and this physical media support. I want to put this in the library we're building out in the pump house and the archive room and use it to archive off things.
It's fantastic. It's one of the things we've always wanted to do with the MiSTer project, is evolve it and get more I/O. If we had more I/O pins, we'd be using them. If we had I/O expanders, we'd be using them. We'd be doing all sorts of things. But some of that is down to being able to plug in. Maybe you want to be able to plug your ISA card in and run a Sound Blaster 16 and that sort of thing in the future. All possible, it all can be done. The one exciting thing that the Game Boy cartridge adapter shows, that everything is running in real time. It's not like an emulator in software where you have to dump the ROM or you have to try and keep up with the speed of the interface, and you're only just managing that because your underlying Linux is struggling. This is all hardware. This is all running as if it was a Game Boy. So those interfaces are direct pins in the FPGA going straight out to the cartridge. It knows what it's got there. It's bringing that data back and it's using it in real time. And that just highlights the point of FPGA-based retro gaming and preservation that we can do. We can create systems that are architecturally just like the original. We can add in interfaces that have disk drive ports, we can have MIDI ports, we can have all of those sort of things. RS-232, you don't find that on a lot of systems now. We can go back to having those systems, and we can keep the systems running by replacing it with FPGA-based technologies, which is what we wholeheartedly believe in. The purpose of us in the Retro Collective is to create hardware that allows things to continue. So we're not stuck with the very last custom Jaguar chip has died and no one's got a Jaguar anymore. Well, you can run it on FPGA. So that's a good goal in the future. And those sort of little interfaces that we're just teasing out and just trying to get up and running are just giving that little hint of where we're going with the technology. So we'd like to know if people would like to see cartridge adapters, because we could do maybe Atari 2600. There's other ones we could do. It's really sort of down to those sort of 8 and 16-bit systems at the moment. Maybe some of the handhelds, they're great. The Atari Lynx, Neo Geo Pocket, those sort of things. They've all got enough. There's enough pins on there for us to be able to do quite a few of those. Some of the bigger ones might struggle with the amount of pins we got available, but that doesn't mean in the future we won't find other ways to do it and have other ways forward.
I know this is pure prototyping, but in your head, how would you envisage that working? Would it be a board with then a series of different cartridge adapters for different cartridges, or would it be a different board for different systems?
I think if people want to see an adapter to start with, maybe we just do the first Game Boy Advance type of system, Game Boy Color. It's all used the same connector. So we could do that and have a little adapter on the side with just that connector on. After that, we're open to ideas, really.
Some it
could be a modular system. It could be a general purpose. This is a general purpose expansion. This is a bit like a SNAC adapter with the level shifters on. So we've got all the level shifters on here. We've got lots more I/O. So you can now use this for. It's actually got a SNAC port on it. So you can use this for all sorts of things. And we could do boards like this for people to experiment with, or to send out to people in the community that want to interface to other things. So we're quite happy to sort of have those conversations with the community and see what people want, but it has to make sense from either we'll do the design and let other people manufacture it if there's a small demand, but if there's a cartridge adapter that people would like, or a type of interface, it doesn't have to be a cartridge adapter, but it can be some sort of interface that people would just really like to see. The MIDI is one of those ones where I'm sure...
It's the third time he said MIDI.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things where I just feel that people want to connect it to music systems, do synthesizers, and FPGA is just really exciting for that sort of thing. So I keep on mentioning it, but it's mainly because I want to see what the reaction is from people, to see if that's something people would actually like to see.
Yeah. And this excites me. This is all at one end of the spectrum. just remember, there's absolutely nothing wrong with using the HDMI output, putting it under your telly and just enjoying some ROMs.
Yeah,
that's fine too.
That's a really good one, because we didn't show this board before, but this is the depopulated version, or the non-populated version with the Multisystem2 digital. So as you can see, a lot of the connectors are taken off. It is HDMI, it is USB, and it's really super simple. And a lot of people have sent lovely comments through saying, that's all I need. I just want to be able to plug it into my telly and enjoy all of these wonderful years of retro gaming and computing. I can plug in a USB mouse, I can plug in a USB keyboard and a USB joystick, and I'm really happy. So we've got people who love this, and we've got people that say, oh no, I definitely don't want that. I want the full-blown one because I want to do all these cool stuff with it. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Yeah. So I'm really glad we did the cut-down one, because it's enabled more people to explore the ecosystem. It was an easy thing for us to do. We didn't have to create 2 PCBs, because, of course, as soon as you do that, you break your manufacturing. Then you have a much lower number of these potentially compared to the analog system, and then the price just gets eroded because you're making so many less. So if we can keep as many things the same as possible, we can keep those volume of manufacture down and keep everything affordable for everyone. So,
but it's not all just about the Multisystem2. No. We must say some thank yous before we move on, because there's been review units out. So thank you to everyone who's taken the time to review it. And there have been some really good in-depth reviews. There have been reviews from people who have never touched an FPGA before and given us that sort of first user experience, which has been really nice. So people like More Fun Making It, Lee, will put all the links to all the channels in the video description. Video Game Esoterica.
Pixel Cherry Ninja, Retro RGB. Bob from Retro RGB is a huge supporter of us, and he's given us so much feedback and help with all of this. Thank you so much. Lou's Retro Source, again, great place to find out everything about MiSTer. Covered all of the Multisystem2 and continues to cover our adventures in the cartridge adapters and various other things. So thank you so much, Lou, for doing that. We've got What's Ken Making?
I don't know.
No, he's all sorts. He's doing loads of cool stuff. So Ken's a person who's done some really great multi-system coverage for this product, but also in the past has done wonderful MiSTer things. And he has a portable MiSTer, a handheld MiSTer, which is a modular system you can build. He's released all the files to that. So Ken's done some great things, and Ken was absolutely instrumental in some of the feedback on the LCD and just giving us good advice on how we might want to accommodate other panels that are out there. So thank you so much for that, Ken. That's really good. We've got TME Retro and Me Machine Dean as well.
Yeah, and Hack Build Restore.
Hack Build Restore. That's right. That's another one just come out. Yeah.
So lots of reviews out there, and there will be lots more. And so just a big thank you to everyone, because it's been very positive and also some really good constructive feedback. It's been really useful, so thank you. But yeah, as I say, it's not just all about the Multisystem2, these Hebrew updates, which I really hope to make a regular thing. Yeah. I hope you guys like getting these insights. So what do you want to tell us about next, Richard? What's on the Hebrew menu?
Well, yeah, I'll just say on that front, we are doing developments. We're doing things all the time. Once you've gone through the cycle of doing the design, stabilizing it, you've got production test equipment, you've got manufacturing, but that design can then at least freeze for a little while. So we've got time to then move on. So Nick is moving on to other things. Of course, he's produced all of the parts of the test fixture, produced all of the software that goes into that. There's loads of software behind the scenes that does all the testing. But once you've got a little bit downtime, you can create other things. So Nick had a little bit of time spare to do other things, and he's created a new control dock, which is really nice. So
is that
we've
here?
got, I'll just grab it.
Your box of magic tricks down there.
This is wonderful. So Nick loves strange systems as well, and one of the ones that we both got a bit of a passion for is the PC Engine. Yeah. So this is a dedicated PC Engine control dock with everything on board. So previous control docks, we used the module. We've now got everything stuck down, so it's really nice.
Before you go on, just remind people what the control dock is.
Yes, so the control dock is a way to connect legacy controllers of different types to any system, including the multi-system, including your Raspberry Pi, including your laptop, your Linux computer, Macs, PCs, anything that's got a USB port. You can then connect legacy controllers like pads, Nintendo, Atari, joypads, joysticks, mice, all sorts of things.
Analog and digital.
Analog and digital, rollerballs, and this is the latest revision. This is a control dock PC Engine. So this has got the multi-port user on it. Can take the TurboGrafx 16 connectors on the other side here, which you can see. So you can either have the small ones or the TurboGrafx, because in America they have the larger ports. But Japan and I think we didn't really get it in the UK, but there's been a lot over here that have the smaller ports. But this one was quite a fun one because Nick really wanted to get everything working, absolutely everything. So the PC Engine mouse, which is a beautiful mouse, it really is. It's got side buttons, it's got a lovely action, works really well. But this controller, I don't know if you've ever seen this, Neil.
Never, no.
Okay, so this is a fascinating controller. This is a pachinko controller. You can fire your pachinko balls like that, and you can do that, and you can do the control pad and everything else. So fully analog system on there. So it's really interesting and a bit obscure, difficult to get hold of. Only 4 games support it, but still, you know, this is the passion we've got for actually going the whole hog, and now this supports under the control dock.
What about the mouse? Is there much support for the mouse? Do you know?
There's quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of support for the mouse. It's quite interesting. Can be used. So yeah, even as far as the obscure pachinko controller, we've now got an interface for it, and some reference software as well that people might want to look at if they want to put it on other things.
Superb. So, yeah, these control docks are great because you can use them as standalone devices with PC, as you said, or they go in the slice that can sit under the Multisystem as well. So really nice addition to the range. And you launched your modular range of game controllers. How's that been going?
Yeah, that's been going really well. So another one of our engineers, Andy, has been working heavily on doing a lot more modular stuff and doing all sorts of other things, but he's focused on the 2 next products. We've got the trackball and the spinner. And the trackball's just about ready. It literally is finished now. We are waiting. One? Yeah, let's get one out. So this is a nice clean trackball. So we've got lovely, lovely motion on the trackball. Get a good spin on there. We've got 3 buttons. So we've got left, middle, and right. That's quite important because games like Missile Command, you've got 3 bases. You've got the middle base, the left base, and the right base. So you have to have at least 3 buttons. And most ones, you've got a couple on here as well, and you've got some start and select. So you've got enough buttons, but it's better than just a mouse because sometimes you only get like 2. You don't always get the same feel. So that is a proper arcade trackball. It's a little mini one that we can fit in there.
The nice decal from Dan. Yeah, so that will finish it off nicely, just like this one. Yeah.
We're going to get a nice decal done from Dan on that one. So that is the final bit we're ramping up to production on this. It glows as well, that trackball, which is really nice.
It comes fully built, or do you build it yourself?
No, it's fully built. But it is, the reason why it's called modular is because you can switch these parts, and we've done a little custom PCB inside. So everything comes out with the standard connector on the end. All of the modular range will fit to that, and you can then adapt that to be able to use it in real arcade machines, various control dock products, and arcade systems as well, which more on that in the future. But yeah, we've got a range of these coming out. The next one after this will be the trackball. The spinner. Yeah. So trackball and then spinner, and then we'll look to see what people want after that. We'll save sort of future things because we did want this to be more of a multi-system focused, and that is our focus at the moment. We are trying very hard to make sure all of this multi-system stuff gets out to you as quickly as possible. People have ordered the SNAC adapters, the cartridge adapters, the slice trays. There's lots of other parts of the system as well that we're putting together for people for their orders that they've put in. So yeah, we're trying to get all that ready, and with the help from everyone, as you've heard, we're on track, and hopefully we'll carry on that way.
Fantastic. Well, we will keep updating you as they go out the door, I'm sure. It'll be an exciting day to see the first ones go out. Yeah. As I said at the start of this video, I hope this will become a regular feature on the Retro Collective to just keep up to date with what Hebra are doing, all the fantastic and exciting things that they're doing. But also, it's a 2-way street, so please let us know. Leave comments about what you'd like to see, what you'd like to know. If you have some ideas, is there something that you desperately want? Now you're getting a better feel for the skills that Hebra have and the things that they can do. Maybe they're the people to create that thing that you always wanted, because you're always looking for new ideas, aren't you, Richard?
We are, yeah. We get some great emails, so thank you so much. And I read every one of them. So if you've written in an email saying, I would love to see this product and this is how you could do it. And if you looked at this project over here, thank you so much. I've responded to all of those ones that come in, and we take them seriously and we look at ways to do things. But we're also just really interested in that engagement, you know, getting the community involved. We want to work with people. You know, we don't just want to do this in isolation. We want to be part of the community. We want to be part of the wider retro gaming scene and just develop more hardware, develop more software, develop more interesting interfaces that you want and need. So,
yeah, and you know, you never know what will come out with these collaborations. As Richard says, Heba is a small team of 15 or so people. They do an incredible thing for what they are here and the team that they've got here, but maybe you've got something that you can offer out there to really complement what Heba do. You know, I think you're all ears to everything. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Keep chatting.
We have our core skills. We know, you know, there's certain things we don't do. Is why we've gone down things like 3D printing instead of injection molding everything, because we know that that's a difficult thing to do and to have sensibly sized production manufacturing runs. We are doing everything in the UK. We are responding to lots of interesting products that we're developing, and 3D printing gives us loads of flexibility on that. So where possible, we manipulate what we can do to meet the demands and meet products for people. But we're also interested in working with other people that might be, you know, you might be an expert on FPGA development. You might want to come and do some work with us. You might be already in the scene doing work like this, but not aware that there's other things you could be doing with different platforms. So yeah, please get in touch if you've got any ideas, and we'd love to see what you've got to say.
And for everyone that's ordered a Multisystem2, hang on in there, they'll be with you soon. Yeah. Thank you so much for supporting Heba and the Retro Collective, and thank you everyone for taking the time to watch. If you're a patron of the channel, we're now going to record a very special AMA with Richard so everyone can get to know him a little bit better. So if you'd like to join us for that, head over to patreon.com/The Retro Collective. And for everyone else, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you soon.
He's waving. He's not waving. He's waving. Oh, no, it's not This Week in Retro. It's the wrong show.
You confused me then.